Okay. Super duper. All right. This is 10 bad Game Gear games. Sure, Karen. How you doing, Karen? Game number 1, Robocop 3. What do I want for this? Yeah, we can use these. Sure, Karen, I'll do all that. So let's talk about Robocop 3. I didn't find very many notes on this, but apparently it had very unbalanced difficulty. That was like the chief complaint. It was just not correctly balanced at all and just too tough to play. Yes, I'll do Game Boy Color next. And in addition to its difficulty, it had very uninspired design, particularly in the backgrounds. So let's say goodbye to Robocop. Next game on the list. George Foreman's KO Boxing. Actually, didn't I have one of the... No, I guess not. This is good enough. I gotta say, that's really terrible box art. The image of George Foreman is okay, but the rest of it is just very uninspired. So, this game suffered from very slow, sluggish control and bad animation. The boxers moved around the ring like super old men, and it was just not satisfying gameplay and very bad sound effects. And the controls were not stellar either. So let's say goodbye to Big George. What came out earlier than you expected? I think I'm going to not say that, because I don't want to offend anyone. Next game, Double Dragon. There we go. So let's talk about Double Dragon. The Revenge of Billy Lee. And it's called The Revenge of Billy Lee because he's the only one that's in the game. It should have just been called, you know, Dragon. Or Single Dragon or something, because Jimmy Lee's not in the game. Now, granted, since it's on a one-player console, there's no real need for there to be both the Double Dragons, but at the same time, you would think they would at least acknowledge the other character. How's it going, bro to Zach? So, other complaints with this game, besides Jimmy Lee not being in it. Choppy animations and terrible music. No. This is Game Gear. Well-known antagonist of the series, Abobo, is not in the game. Very unimpressive sound effects along with the terrible music. And the game has broken controls and actually has guns. Guns. In a game that's supposed to be focusing on martial arts. Some people just saw the presence of guns in this game as a complete affront. So let's say goodbye to Billy Lee. Or Bimmy, if you know the typo from the original NES game. Very nice. Moving on. Where are we at? Here we are. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the action game. Did Sega have a console that used laser discs? Well, I don't know about Laserdisc, but they had some CD-based consoles. Sega CD, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. No music except for the opening. I don't know how you get away with that on a Game Gear, but apparently that was one of the complaints. So let's see. We'll have a weapon to represent that. And a very careful hand. Why not? Oh yeah. And a globe. Yeah, apparently the game only had like the intro music and only a section of it. Like, well, yeah, I think the game had sounds but no music. If what I read was correct. You never know if these individually written reviews are perfectly truthful, but apparently this game was just a very poor clone of the NES version. But apparently enough that they had programming changes that probably shouldn't have been made. For example, no post-hit recovery time. You know how in a lot of games, you know, good games, when you get hit by an enemy, you flash for a few seconds and you're temporarily invulnerable? This game did not have that, so an enemy could just walk on over you, stomp a mud hole in your ass, and walk it dry in less than 3 seconds. Oh, that's awesome. And of course we have to have the globe, because in the Indiana Jones, you always, you know, you have that, like, red line on the map. Yeah. Thank you. Dun 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 dun. Oh yeah, and no boss battles. Which maybe some people don't mind, but in the game, in most action games, you expect there to be boss battles. You fixed the bugs with Project 64? That's what's up. And did Goemon run properly after that? Next game on the list, Home Alone, which is now owned by Disney because they bought out 20th Century Fox. Specific room that wouldn't load for some reason. Here, this could be Harry and Marv. Had to check settings box for enable memory. Which makes no sense. Well, at least now it works. Let's see. Sure. Do like this. So let's talk about this Home Alone game. Didn't want to do that. Home Alone on the Game Gear. And apparently it was also very similar to its console counterpart as well. Chief complaints with this one, low quality music. Now, one never expects the music on a handheld to be as good as it is on the console, but apparently it was, people felt it was far below what the Game Gear was capable of, and that the, I guess whoever was in charge of sound engineering just didn't put in the effort. And let's see. They had screen crowd slowdown. That means, you know, when there's a bunch of stuff on the screen, you know, the frames drop and things start to flicker, and, you know, if you played a lot of old school Nintendo games, you'll notice that a lot. And here's our low quality sound. Here's Harry and Marv. And here's our nice little... You looked up Sega Earth, it was going to use laser discs, but was canceled. Okay. Man. Sega had a few canceled things. There was also the Neptune, that got canceled. Yeah, it was just going to be a standalone 32X system. Yeah, it's so funny how we really just missed completely out on a 32-bit era of gaming. Well, Sega's still its own entity as far as I know, but they publish games for Nintendo and all that good stuff. Yeah, let's see. Parent organization, Sega Holdings and Sega Sammy. So, they're still their own thing, but yeah, they make games with Nintendo now. And, you know, a lot of the Total War games Sega has to do with, and a few others. Which is why we get Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games. They aren't part of the console wars. No, not anymore. Sega went out with the Dreamcast. Next game. Aerial Assault. Oh, we can duplicate that easily. How do I want to represent this? Sure, why not? So let's talk about Aerial Assault. So, this is a shooter game, as you may have guessed. Suffered from massive sprite recycling. Very, very little variety in the environments. And the enemies. All recycled. Very awful sound effects. And let's see. The game makes you move slowly. Like, the actual gameplay of the shooter game is slowly. Whereas in most shooter games, you know, most shooter games are like a test of player reflexes. But this game was really slow. And even then, you move slow, and the game makes you pick up speed power-ups in order to increase the speed of your ship. And there was also an inconsistent rate of fire. Gonna hook me up to the TV while you clean the condo. Alright. See, apparently you could hold the button down to fire your gun like you can in a lot of shmups. But apparently the rate of fire would not stay consistent. Sometimes, you know, it wasn't just like a bloom, 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 bloom. Sometimes it would go bloom, 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 bloom. You know, something like that. Inconsistent. Very weird programming glitch, I suspect. So let's say goodbye to Aerial Assault. Can you get another bloom? Bloom! Bloom, bloom! Bloom! Bloom, bloom, bloom! Bloom! Oh! Alright, next game on the list. Rise of the Robots. Ugh. I've roasted this game before, but the console version of it. Let's see. Mirage. I hadn't even heard of this company. That's how great they are. Woefully bad graphics. You thought the console version of this game was terrible? Try the Game Gear version. You know, if you woke up and felt like you didn't hate yourself quite enough, you know, try Rise of the Robots on Game Gear. The music in this game is butchered. Apparently, it's like somebody, like, got drunk, tapped around on a Casio, and then threw it at the wall. Busted controls. That's not shocking. The controls in Rise of the Robots for console were busted too. And apparently, this game was accidentally or intentionally, I don't know, but it was locked in hard difficulty with no way to actually change it. Seems to me it was like a massive oversight. And then, as for the gameplay, other than being insanely hard, there's only 2 attacks. And it's like a kick and like a shoulder check or something like that. It's not even like what you would expect, a punch and a kick. It's like a kick and like a shoulder bash or something, if what I read was correct. Oh, this... Now that I'm staring a little harder at him, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Genji from Overwatch. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So we're going to wait for our stereo to arrive. Top off my decanter here. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's see if he can make this journey. Aiden Cornwell, what's going on? Wow. Good grief. A series of explosions. Next game. I'm doing okay, Aiden. How are you? Next is Sonic 2. Got to do work today. What kind of work? Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble were more worthy Sonic platformers for Game Gear. I'll take your word on that, since I never owned a Game Gear. Game Boy was my portable of choice. So, Sonic 2 on Game Gear actually is not just a watered-down version of Sonic 2 on console. Surprise, surprise. So let's get all of Sonic's animal friends that he has to rescue from the evil Dr. Robotnik. We'll strategically place the cat. Okay, just lay there. All the animals just represent the whole premise of Sonic, you know, rescuing animals from Dr. Robotnik. So, in Sonic 2 on Game Gear, they have different levels than in Sonic 2 on the Genesis. Most jarring is they sort of start you in like a sand level instead of a familiar Green Hill Zone or Emerald Hill Zone. But apparently the stages are very short, yet somehow managed to be overly complex, at least more complex than should be needed for a Game Gear game. The boss stages are separate stages. Like instead of your normal Sonic game, where at the end of the last stage of a world or a zone, you fight the boss at the end of that stage and it's the same level. This one has a separate screen that like sort of puts you into the boss fight, and the problem with that is there are no rings. So every single fight is a one-hit death fight, which is terrible. Terrible game design. And occasionally the game puts you in situations where you have rough controls, like the underwater level, or the hang glider. So let's show Sonic what we think. The big pile of dookie. There we go. That cooked down really nice. Alrighty. Next game on the list, Sonic Blast. So let me see, what are my notes? Okay. We didn't really get a good show with that one before, so we'll use that one again. And we haven't used the Exterminator yet today. If you get the bad ending, Tails dies. Oh, there's different endings in Sonic 2 on Game Gear? So, what can you say about Sonic Blast? I already roasted this game in my bad Genesis games. No, not Genesis games. Bad Sonic games video a while back. And however bad you thought the console version was, whoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, Oh, excuse me. I'm still having sleeping woes. Let's pile all these up. Put our exterminator here in the corner. And we're waiting for this last package. So let's talk about Sonic Blast. So the designers of this game attempted to sort of make... They tried to experiment with like sort of 3D rendered sprites, very similar to how Donkey Kong Country looked, but they failed spectacularly. The Game Gear just really couldn't handle it well, so which ended up with not only very ugly looking graphics for the sprites, but also a lot of screen slowdown. And then there's also very inconsistent gameplay mechanics. The one specific example I found was that there was one underwater level that gives you 1 minute of oxygen when you're under the water. And then there was another water level later in the game that gives you 15 seconds of oxygen when you're underwater. Which, like, that would make me, like, turn the game off and take it back to the store. I'm like, who decided to change the rules between levels? Like, you don't do that. At least not without providing context or preparing the player adequately. That's like an artificial way to make a game challenging, and it's very poor game design. And, of course, shoddy controls, represented by our little controller here. Alright, Exterminator, do your thing. There we go. Excellent. All right, last game on the list. Ba-dip-dip, Sonic Labyrinth. We know what we need for this one. And let's see, we're gonna go with that again. Very nice. Do we want anything else? No, I guess not. That's probably good as is, right? Let's talk about Sonic Labyrinth. So, big problem in this game is that, they experimented with an isometric perspective, which, you know, to their credit was, like, experimental and ambitious, but it doesn't translate to Sonic properly because Sonic's all about speed. You know, you want to move fast as Sonic, and you can't do that really in this game. So what you're doing all game long is either just moving, like, very meticulously and not taking advantage of your speed, or you're just popping around the screen like, you know, like a pinball, which is, you know, part part of what the game is about, but the control is such that it's just not very satisfying. And the gameplay itself is extremely repetitive. And it's like Sonic is just very difficult to control, whether he's moving fast or slow. That takes real talent. Sega Sonic the Hedgehog was also isometric. Never heard of it. So let's say goodbye to Sonic Labyrinth. Picture of yours truly. The camera representing the isometric perspective. Overall, the camera just represents how we see the game. And we see the game, in that case, from isometric perspective. And in this case, representing the fact that the isometric perspective was very much a hindrance. In fact, I don't know of any 3D Sonic games that were all that great. I mean, there might be one or two, but I haven't heard great things about any of them. Alright, so that's the list. As mentioned before, next list will be Game Boy Color in a few days. So start cranking your mind out about what you think the worst Game Boy Color games are or were. And make sure you're back in front of your, viewing devices for that. For now, I was going to stream Phantasy Star 4 some more, but I'm feeling tired again, so I think I'm going to lay down and see if I can nap, and if I can't, I don't know, maybe I'll stream later than usual, but for now, I've got my stream in for today, so I'm still keeping up my consistency, I guess. That whole part of it. But I hope you've enjoyed this ritual burning of bad video games, and if you have ideas for lists, just put them in the YouTube comments. I see all the comments, so anything you would like me to look at, notes that you'd like to leave behind, or anything, gameplay suggestions, anything like that. More than happy to listen to any of that. So for now, let me quiet this music down so I don't have to talk over it. And for now, I hope everyone stays safe out there and has a good day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever it is where you are.